Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to today's video. And we have more updates coming from Hurricane Milton. Currently a Category 5 storm heading towards the coast of Florida is expected to make landfall later on tonight. Now, as of the news this morning, they said the storm was going to weaken a little bit and possibly be down to a Category 4. Yesterday, they said it was going to be a Category 3. Now they've upped it to a Category 4. Now this, of course, has resulted in airport closures, hotel closures, gas shortages as people are evacuating out of the area. And of course, it has resulted in port closures and a ton of itinerary changes. We've been going over itinerary changes for the last couple of days. We have more itinerary changes. We have cruise cancellations for you as Hurricane Milton continues to head towards Florida. Now we're going to start off with Royal Caribbean and Harmony of the Seas departed Galveston back on the 6th. Now Harmony of the Seas had already had an itinerary change. They were skipping the port stop in Roatan, Honduras, and instead we're going to be going to Costa Maya, Mexico. But since then, they have now canceled Costa Maya, Mexico as well to help avoid the storm, and instead will spend an extra day out at sea and move away to avoid any of the storm's effects. Now, they do plan to still go to Cozumel, Mexico. However, that is going to be the only port stop left on that itinerary, as all the others have either been dropped or been changed. And we do happen to have a friend out on that particular cruise. So hopefully, Rick, you are out there having a good time and you can tell us all about how it was on Harmony of the Seas and how everybody felt about those itinerary changes. Icon of the Seas has skipped its stop at Coco Cay and will have a sea day instead. Adventure of the Seas, scheduled to go to Coco Cay, will instead go to Turks and Caicos. Mariner of the Seas skipped its port stop in Cozumel, Mexico, and did a sea day instead. Symphony of the Seas rearranged her entire itinerary. Wonder of the Seas skipped Roatan, Honduras, and Costa Maya, Mexico, and instead will do Cozumel and Falmouth, Jamaica. Utopia of the Seas skipped Coco Cay and will replace it with Nassau, Bahamas later on in the itinerary. Grandeur of the Seas went from a Western Caribbean cruise to a one port stop in the Bahamas. And Independence of the Seas swapped Cozumel, Mexico for the Dominican Republic. So a lot of itinerary changes, and that is just from Royal Caribbean. Now keep in mind, this is all before the storm hits Florida. Depending on the effects of the storm, it could cause additional delays, cancellations, and itinerary changes later on, because it's all going to depend on when ports open back up, when they can resume business, and every day that they are closed creates a domino effect for follow-on cruises, where you're going to have canceled cruises or shortened cruises until everything can kind of catch back up. Now, the Margaritaville at Sea Paradise, sailing from Palm Beach, Florida, canceled the October 9th sailing altogether. So the cruise scheduled to go out today is not going to happen. And the Margaritaville at Sea Islander had already changed her itinerary and actually did embarkation one day earlier to get out of port and avoid the storm. The Sun Princess, brand new cruise ship from Princess Cruise Lines, doing its first transatlantic sailing, was actually supposed to arrive today in Port Everglades. So the Sun Princess is going to stay out at sea, avoid the storm, and is currently estimated that she will arrive in port on the 11th. Now, the next sailing for the Sun Princess isn't until the 14th, so a little bit of delay will not affect any follow-on cruises. Just those passengers that are currently on board the ship, they're gonna get a little bit of extra time. Disney Cruise Lines has canceled the October 11th sailing on board the Disney Wish. The MSC Seashore, currently out sailing, is expected to be back a day late. Was supposed to arrive back in Port Canaveral tomorrow. They anticipate that is now going to be the 11th. The MSC Magnifica is supposed to be back in Miami on the 11th, and so there's not any current plans or changes for the Magnifica as far as a embarkation and disembarkation, but of course that can always change based on port conditions. The Carnival Paradise was scheduled to be back in Tampa tomorrow on the 10th, but the Paradise will have to remain out at sea until the port opens. Now, the October 10th sailing on board the Carnival Paradise has officially been canceled. The Carnival Elation sailing out of Jacksonville will not return to port tomorrow on the 10th. She will have an extra day out at sea, and the follow-on cruise scheduled to go tomorrow, it is currently been shortened. But Carnival Cruise Lines has not released any specifics as to what is going to be involved for the shortened cruise on the Carnival Elation as of yet anyway. Now, there are other Carnival cruise ships that may be affected depending on what the outcome of the storm is. The Carnival Glory from Port Canaveral, the Carnival Sunrise from Miami, and possibly the Carnival Sunshine out of Charleston. Okay, now no changes have been made to those cruises as of yet, but if you are booked on an upcoming cruise for one of those ships, keep an eye out, pay attention to what information the cruise line is putting out, sign up for those text alerts, keep in contact with the cruise line. So a lot of itinerary changes, cancellations, all of which can definitely cause headaches for travelers. Airports closed, roads are going to be flooded, hotels are going to be closed. People are going to be scrambling to rearrange their travel options. And that's for those on board the ship and those with upcoming cruises. Now, there are still possibility of further changes. Like I said, it is really all going to depend on what damage this storm does to the cruise ports. Once the storm passes, they then have to assess any damage, and at that point, we'll be able to give a reopening date. Hopefully, the majority of them will be able to reopen on the 11th as currently planned. But if you have an upcoming cruise out of Florida, just kind of keep it in the back of your mind that there are still possibilities of more changes ahead. And while I fully get and fully understand this is a frustrating experience for travelers, you're either trying to get there or you're trying to get home. Remember though, the cruise lines have zero control over the weather. They have zero control over when the ports open and close. So pack your patience, pack your understanding. Those will be valuable items for you over the next couple of days. Now, for those living in the Florida, those in the path of the storm, remember, our thoughts, our prayers, they are with you. Hopefully this passes over you quickly, does no damage if at all possible. Nobody gets hurt, nobody gets injured, nobody loses their life. That, at the end of the day, will be the most important thing. And that is going to be our video for today. If you've enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you haven't done so yet, do me a favor and hit subscribe. It is free to do so. Helps our channel grow. Let you know anytime we put out a new video. Hope everyone out there is having a really great day. And like always, we will see you out on the high seas.